Today, we're going to talk about two of the most popular productivity note taking apps, Evernote and OneNote. Let's discover which one is right for you. First up, we have Microsoft OneNote. One of the key difference between OneNote and Evernote is that if you are working in the Microsoft ecosystem, then it's definitely OneNote. It integrates seamlessly into Outlook, To-Do Planner, Teams, this new tool called Loop. It all just works seamlessly. No headache, no hiccups, no additional tweaking and integration, configuration, or API. None of that extra stuff. If you're in the Microsoft ecosystem, then you should definitely be using Microsoft OneNote. So, what is a Microsoft OneNote notebook? So, the idea behind this is instead of having a physical notebook with pen and paper when you're taking notes for your school homework assignment, class notes, or you're working in a team, an entrepreneur, knowledge worker, and you're in a meeting, taking meeting notes and planning, project planning, etc. So you instead of that physical notebook, that has been transformed into this digital representation of that notebook. So you have your notebook and you have repeated sections and repeated section of sections, and sections have different pages. So you could see here on the screen, under this section here, you have first day checklist, company history. So these are considered pages. And you could have multiple notebooks depending on your projects or objectives. So that's essentially what Microsoft OneNote is. It's taking your physical notebook and is making it into a digital format. You could have integration with Copilot, this new Copilot feature to help you work and be more productive. You could see a sample here on the right, have your Copilot. You could ask it information, help you summarize information and grab information for you. And that would definitely help with your productivity. That's Microsoft Copilot. Let's try and find out what are the main differences here between Evernote and OneNote. Is that Evernote does not have this massive organization like Microsoft does, and this Outlook and Teams and OneDrive and all these other tools. So Evernote is trying to bring in the best of both worlds and trying to have that all into its one tool. So I'm going to go more into that and kind of show you what I meant later on in the video. Because here in OneNote, you could see that there's checklists. These checklists can be brought up into Outlook task or your planner to do, and you could have your reminders in Outlook, etc., that integrates very seamlessly with your checklist task. Let's scroll down here. Another cool feature that OneNote has, it has a sketch annotate. And you could highlight freely with your new stylus, write notes and text recognition and stuff. You could collaborate with your documents and information in the Microsoft ecosystem extremely seamlessly. If you have maybe a Microsoft email like at outlook.com or at Live or Hotmail, one of these Microsoft accounts, you could do that. And you could see here's a sample of the drawing. So I'm going to show you an example of what this drawing feature here does. Let's hop over to Microsoft OneNote, head over to the Insert tab, or the Draw tab actually. And here I'm going to click on a pencil, and I'm going to draw a shape using my mouse. You could do this on a tablet if you have a stylus or something. So I'm just going to hold this, and it snaps into a shape. That's an oval. Let's try and do a circle. See if it grabs a circle. Yep, there's a circle. And now let's do a triangle and a rectangle. And I'm going to try and do a star. Don't get at me if I get this wrong. Hold that. Boom, there's a star. So this is very cool for text input and drawing notes and diagram. You can insert an image and do some annotation in this as well. Let's try and do some sample text. I'm just grabbing some lorem ipsum. So you could here we go. You could grab some text and you could, what you expect. You could do bold and highlight and heading, etc. So I'm not going to go too much into this, but essentially you could do voice dictation and transcribing. So you have your tags as well. Like there's a to-do tag, so that could connect into your Outlook and your Microsoft To-Do and Planner. So these are some standard out-of-the-box tags that comes along with Microsoft OneNote. Here's a new feature that it has just been released. Just is relative as of today. We're in 2024 July. So we have something called a loop component. So these components do not live within a page or section. They exist, for lack of a better word, in the cloud, in the Microsoft Graph. And these components can be consumed in multiple places simultaneously. So let me just give you a quick example here of maybe a task list. And boom, this is getting things ready, heading off to the cloud. So grab the page title, and I'm going to say task 1, task 2, hit enter, and then task 3. I'm just going to assign myself to these tasks here. Boom, boom, boom. Give it some dates. Next week, sometime, some other date, and some other date. And then you could add more option to do in progress. You could kind of get the idea of what this is. So let me consume this loop task for episode 13, right? Copy component, copied, add a new page. And there we go. I'm going to paste this over into a new page. And this is episode 13 notes. So you could see here, task 1, 2, 3, none of them have been checked. So I'm just going to check off number 1 and change this to completed. All right, so that's been completed. And I'm going to hop back over to the previous page. You can see the information has been captured in both locations. So this loop exists in multiple locations. So this is a very powerful tool for Microsoft OneNote. You could use it for task and planning and tracking. Like it's the options are endless, and I'm sure Microsoft is going to be expanding on this feature set. And let's take a look at the left side here. So these are notebooks. Right now I have one notebook, but you could create more notebooks. And these are called different sections, right? So we have these episode 13 is under videos for YouTube from Maven Academy. And you can see that I have this set up under the para method. So this is a very powerful tool. You can see that the information lives in multiple location or in neither location. As you can see here in my left section, these are different sections and pages and notebooks. Maybe in another video, I will go through and about the para method, projects, areas, and resources. So yeah, this is OneNote. I highly recommend it. It's a no-brainer if you're in the Microsoft ecosystem. Definitely take a look at this. So now let's take a look at what Evernote have to offer. So Evernote has almost the same or identical feature set as OneNote, However, Evernote is geared more towards the general population that is not inside the Microsoft ecosystem, limited to the Microsoft ecosystem. It has the web clipper, the mobile, they have your desktop and web. It has pretty much everything that the OneNote would have. You could do your let's take a look at tasks, for example. That might be something that is quite different than OneNote. So you see here on the screen, you have your notes and you have your task, but it has a task feature built directly within Evernote. It's not the same as Microsoft OneNote. It has a calendar integration. This calendar integrates with Google Calendar. So again, it's not the Microsoft ecosystem, but it has very similar feature set. It has a very robust tagging system. And here you have your notebooks, very similar or almost identical to what we just seen in Microsoft OneNote. Let's take a look at a quick sample of Evernote. So here I have a pre-existing note. This is a PDF that I dropped in. These are some notes from my last episode. You can see that you have to be thinking about finding the right tool based on your objective, be it either being a technician, manager, leader, entrepreneur, and finding the right tools. There are different tools out there. There's Evernote, there's OneNote, there's GoodNotes, Samsung Notes, and there's Apple Notes. Definitely take a look at my other video where I go more into finding the right note taking tool. So let's take a new note here, and I'm going to grab some details. Let me grab the details about this episode actually. Here we have a title, and I'm going to drag and drop some notes that I have about episode 13. These notes are as of today, so the pricing information that may change for sure depending on when you look at it and what currency that you're working with. Nothing really major with your editing feature set, but just want to give you a sample overview of what the interface looks like. You have your files, tasks, notes, shortcuts. And again, I have my Para system set up here on the left and tags, and you have an area where you're sharing your files with different users. In Microsoft ecosystem, it may be something like OneDrive. That's probably where they will be focused on sharing files and documents. Here in this Evernote world, you may want to be using connection Google Drive, actually, the Google Drive. So there you have it. This is a quick overview of Evernote versus OneNote. And a simple, quick, easy way to pick either one is if you're in the Microsoft ecosystem, it's OneNote. If you're outside the Microsoft ecosystem, it's Evernote. And you could see from my previous notes, let's jump back. There's tons of different note-taking tools: Notion, Obsidian, Evernote, OneNote, GoodNotes, Samsung Notes, Apple Notes, Bear. The list, capacity, and so forth. It's a very extensive list. But to get rid of all of that overwhelmed of which tool do you use, in this episode, we're just focusing on Evernote versus OneNote. Again, this is just a quick overview of the difference between Evernote and OneNote. And a quick way to simplify this decision is if you're inside the Microsoft ecosystem, it is OneNote. And if you're outside the Microsoft ecosystem, it's Evernote. So these tools, Evernote and OneNote, they're really targeted towards the manager. So someone who is trying to organize information in a very systematic way. So these tools are geared towards being a manager, but it's not limited, but it's ideally meant to be for a manager. So have any questions, comments, please leave them below. And thank you for watching.